8radio.com.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson. You're watching the 5 on Racing Show. Welcome. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. The nonsense that went on at Talladega in the Sprint Cup Series. Some nice stuff about Orange County Fair Speedway and the Eastern States 200. Got some Formula One results to talk about. A bunch of good stuff. Banquet etiquette. You know, the Banquet Series is going to start coming up for not only the top series, but also the weekly racing series as well. And we're gonna start off with that because that is one of those things that one of my pet peeves at an awards banquet. Now, you work hard, you keep your cars looking good, and you show up to your banquet knowing you're going to get some kind of hardware, plaque, trophy, whatever, a new champion's jacket or something like that, and you show up dressed up in a T-shirt. Now, maybe you bought a new T-shirt for that awards banquet, but, for the same money, you could have got a button-down shirt, throw on an old tie, borrow one from your neighbor, somebody. I'm sure somebody has ties laying around. Because, you're going to be in pictures, you're going to be in photos, and they're going to go on websites, they're going to go to the media, in the racing papers, and you want to look good, you want to represent your team and that hard-earned championship or top 5 that you developed as a driver. And I look at some of these photos in the Area Auto Racing News, one of the local papers up here in the Northeast, and I look at the pictures, and I look at some of these guys and gals who you think they were going to play, miniature golf the way they go to these banquets dressed. Now, I'm not saying you got to have $1,000 shoes, $1,000 suit and $800 shoes, but comb your hair, wash your face and your hands, and put on nice clothes. It's just not right the way some of these people come to these awards banquets. And then you're representing not only your team, but yourself and your sponsors. And think about that. Let's say I own Acme Corporation and I sponsored you and you're a champion and I'm all excited. And I tell all my friends and coworkers and people who work for me and other business associates, my suppliers, the guy I sponsored won the championship. Look, here he is in the paper. It could be an embarrassment. And I've known guys who've raced who've lost sponsors that didn't renew because the product that they represented on the track, it was good that they won races and won championship, but what they failed to represent was the sponsor. They failed to represent the sponsor by having a good appearance. People would say, you sponsor that guy or gal? And I'm only trying to say, I'm not trying to be negative here, everybody, but I'm telling you, I've gone to awards banquets where the guy was like the rookie of the year and he showed up in a T-shirt that had derogatory stuff on it and ripped jeans and his work shoes that he should have really replaced like 2 years ago. And they go to these awards banquets, and how much does a cheap shirt cost that you're going to wear once? And if you win the championship next year, you have it in the back of your closet, you can maybe wear it twice. Like I said, everybody has a tie they can lend you if you don't have one. But if you can afford to bolt on a set of new tires every week, and you can afford to put fuel in your car, and you can afford to buy your weekly pit fees, and if you can afford to buy the NASCAR license or whatever sanctioning body you're working or racing under, then you can afford to go buy a tie and a button-down shirt. Ernie Saxon, Area Auto Racing News, he writes a whole big column about this every year because he's got the same pet peeve. represent your team, represent your sponsors, represent your racetrack, and represent the accomplishment that you earned by at least dressing the part. And that's just one of the things. You see a lot of guys and gals, or race car drivers, let's call them drivers, who every year they come to the racetrack, the car's all freshly painted, new body panels, it's all good. And they have this sponsor, Acme Corporation. Next year they come out, maybe build a new car, make improvements to the old one, and they come up with a new sponsor, ABC Company. What happened to Acme? They had a good season. Why didn't they come back? Maybe they didn't come back because you didn't represent them off the racetrack properly. That's a big thing. It's not always about winning races and championships. It's representing your sponsor, the product or service that they sell, and representing them in such a way that they see a return on that that sponsorship dollar, and they see a return by more people coming through their business. Maybe it's not even a business that has a tangible product. Maybe it's just to create an awareness of a product or a cause or a fund, whether it could be Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Big Brothers Big Sisters, things like that, that you really can't measure a sale, but you can maybe put a measurement on the results or the awareness that was created. Again, dress the part. Take that picture, you're all dressed up, all spiffed up, you got a haircut for the event, maybe even shaved even, and you go to a prospective sponsor and you go, hey, last year we won the championship at our racetrack, and we were in the newspaper, and look how we mentioned our sponsors. You make it a little portfolio, just something to think about moving forward. And I only see this because, racing's an expensive game. Your weekly racing tracks don't pay big, giant purses. The guy who wins the feature division race at some of these racetracks doesn't even break even. So how do you race? How do you do this? Without digging into the household fund, without not paying your mortgage or your rent or your electric bill or your gas bill or your car payment. You do that with sponsors. And that's where it comes to be. So try to make that happen, folks. I'm just, if I could make just one guy or gal put on a jacket and a tie and a shirt for their awards blanket, I'll be a happy camper. Not that, you're here to make me happy, but I'm just saying, all right? Just saying. Anyway, tonight we got calling in Tim Pitts, the announcer at the Orange County Fair Speedway, the legendary House of Power. He'll be discussing with us some of the results and some of the things that went on at the Orange County Fair Speedway for this weekend's Eastern State 200, which I attended with my race and travel partner, Kevin Basic, Long Island E for Speed. It's one of those places, Orange County Fair Speedway, if you've never been there, you need to go. The racing is awesome. And this past weekend, it was their big thing. It was their World Series. It was their Super Bowl, the Eastern States 200. They had over 300 cars in the pit area. 300 cars in the pit area. All kinds of divisions were running. We were only up there on Sunday, but had a great time. Again, I want to say this. The management and staff of Orange County Speedway and the officials and the fans treat us like celebrities. Treat us like celebrities. And I want to thank somebody and really went over and aboard. It was a competitor, Bob Hearn. He is the owner of TL Fabrications, one of the largest chassis builders for the dirt series in North America. Bob Hearn, a brother of Brett Hearn, multi-time winner and champion. We wanted to do some stuff on pit road, and the racetrack insurance company wouldn't allow us to do that. They were kind of concerned, and the fact that the insurance rep was there as well, was walking around and looking for little things that they messed up. But what they did is they told us we couldn't be there. We couldn't be We couldn't do anything on pit road. We couldn't do anything behind the wall. So Bob Hearn, he has this huge trailer, like a lot of the teams have, with an observation deck. And he allowed us to go up on that deck for practice, for racing, and it was really good. So we were up there doing our stuff. And I'll tell you what, he made us feel like we were part of his team. And it was just an awesome, awesome day. So, Bob Hearn, we, on behalf of 505 on Racing Show and Long Island Need for Speed, we want to thank you for your hospitality. My camera guy, Kevin Basic, he was like a kid in the candy store up there, right on top of the action, getting the pit stops, and it was just a good thing, and we couldn't have done it without you, because there weren't too many teams there that would have allowed us to do that, and you did. So T.O. Fabrications owner Bob Hearn out of Vernon, New Jersey. If you ever go dirt racing and you need a car built, or part of a car built, or just parts, he's the guy to see. T.O. Fabrications in Vernon, New York. Builds dirt cars. And I saw his name on a lot of cars, not only here at Orange County Fair, but at New Egypt, Volusia County, when I had gone there a couple of years back. T.O. Fabrications to the dirt series is like Troyer to the asphalt series. They're the guys to go with. They're the guys to go with. So I'm not trying to make a commercial here for them, but I'll tell you what, when I get treated like gold, I got to say these things. And the ones that treat me the opposite way, I just don't say nothing. All right, so I want to say that. But anyway, some of the other things at Orange County Fair Speedway, they had a 50-50 for the fans in the stands. The winner pocketed $3,200. The winner of the 50-50. People walking around, legitimate 50-50s, walking around wearing a shirt that said 50-50. $3,200. And I already said that there's over 300 cars in the pit area. The winner's on Sunday. Let's see, on the modifieds, Tommy Meyer, and I'm going to talk about that race when Tim Pitts calls in later on, or we call him, I guess, was the modified winner. Brett Hearn was the small block winner on Saturday. Brian Krumon was the sportsman winner, and Charlie Donald was the street stock winner. And the next thing happening at the Orange County Fair Speedway, that would mean that it was their last race. They will have their annual swap meet on November 21st. And I don't have any details because the website says if you want details, call the track office. So that's good. So looking forward to that for the fans and the competitors, to sell some of the stuff they don't need so they get new stuff. And maybe somebody who's looking for parts is able to get some of the stuff that they need. So with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what went on at Talladega this past weekend, the controversial finish, and why the fans are up in arms, and NASCAR's reaction to that when we come back.
Hey, this is Chris Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Mark Well. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, we get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from InRavio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, we're back. We are back. Talladega. The race where we're waiting for the big one. The big one, as they say. The big one basically happened at the finish line. The finish line. I watched the replay of the controversial finish with Harvick, the 4-car. I watched it. I watched it a couple times. And I try to be objective, and I try to look at things, from as an outsider looking in. I don't look at it as a fan. I don't look at it as an official. I don't look at it even as a media person. I tried to watch this video in such a way to see, what really happened here. And here's the bottom line. Here's my take. Here's my take. Only Kevin Harvick knows what went on there. Was he not up to speed? Could he not get up to speed? Was he calling into his crew chief saying he can't go fast? You think he was bright enough? And I'm going to throw this out here, rhetorical question. Do you think he was bright enough to say, let me see, if I finish here, I'm in the chase, but if this guy passes me, I don't think at 200 miles an hour his mind's thinking that way, and I don't think anybody's talking to him in his radio to do that. He's there to get the best possible finish, and he didn't have it. That green-white check has come up. He couldn't come up to speed. So what it looked like he tried to do is get out of the way. Well, there was a car there. Or maybe that car was there and he goes, all right, if I take him out, I could wreck half the field and I'm in the chase. If you think for 1 minute a competitive race car driver who does this for a living is going to take that chance to injure himself and other people, I think you're wrong. I don't know. Logano swept that section of the chase. He swept it. Dale Jr. was in a position to win the race and maybe could have, maybe would have. But he didn't. You can't look back on a race finish and say, shoulda, woulda, coulda, maybe this would have happened. It's like the guy who finishes second in the points and he's like 5 points back and he says, if I didn't get that flat in race 4, I'd be the champion. You can't look at it that way. You can't look at it that way. And I watched the social I looked at the social media all day today on this finish at Talladega. The fans are unhappy. It's a NASCAR's fixing the outcome. Why did they call the race? Why didn't they do another green-white checker? Why do they make rules as they go? Well, first of all, they make rules as they go because they can. And number two, they make rules as they go because they try to fix things that are broken instead of having a big committee meeting for like 3 months and studies and everybody has a little section to do on it and didn't fix nothing. But NASCAR President Mike Hamilton stated in an interview after that, there is no evidence right now that the 4-car did what the 4-car did was questionable, other than moving out of line. Watch the video and be objective. That's all he did. Unfortunately, there was a car there, hit him. That car went shooting across the field, the track, and took some people out. All right? Because of this wreck, Harvick gets into the chase, and Trevor Bayne and Harvick end up wrecking at that green-white checkered. And a couple of guys didn't make it. 3 guys didn't make it. If the race would have won that extra lap like it should have, or the green-white checker like it should have, maybe there would have been a different outcome. Maybe not. All right? But I see people saying, oh, they didn't want this guy to win, and so that's what happened, and that's why they started. They needed Logano to sweep, and they need to make a story. You know what? Come on, folks. I was behind the scenes for a lot of years on the higher level and on the lower level. You know, to manipulate outcomes. People used to say that to me all the time when I was wearing the shirt at the local racetrack. They used to say to me, you want so-and-so to win. Quite frankly, I could care less who won. I didn't go to the payoff window. They didn't slip me an envelope at the end of the day. I could care less. I didn't care if one guy won every week or the guy who finished last 5 years in a row every week won. I didn't care. You think NASCAR for 1 minute cares about who wins the races? They don't care. All NASCAR wants to do is put on a show. All NASCAR wants to do is entertain the general public, and they entertain the general public by racing on racetracks across the country. They're not sitting there manipulating the outcomes. They're not saying, all right, you know what, folks, because if they were manipulating the outcomes, Joey Logano would have backed off because he's already in, he has 2 wins, and Dale Jr. would have won that race. If, in fact, they're manipulating outcomes. They're not, folks. Don't believe it for a second. I was reading in the social media today how, NASCAR's fixed, and, I'll tell you what. There are times behind the scenes where you gotta bend a little bit. As an official, as a track operator, as a sanctioning body, you gotta bend a little bit. You gotta do that. You gotta do that for the betterment of the sport. Big Bill France said many, many years ago, and partially because of the controversy about that Daytona win in '59 with Joe Weatherly and Lee Petty, that when the fans left the track on Sunday, they were going home knowing who won the race, as opposed to reading it in the papers days later. So they want the fans to know this is who won the race. Now, if something changes in post-tech inspection, or they send stuff out and they get it checked out, or they rescore something, and it turns out that so-and-so really didn't win the race for whatever reason, the guy who went to victory lane, he's going to keep the trophy. He's going to keep the photos, but he might not get the points. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. And like I said, I was reading today, and people were saying how it's fixed, how it's a shame, and NASCAR should be embarrassed. And one guy put, what stands for NASCAR is an acronym, National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing. Somebody put on the social media that NASCAR stood for not a single clue about racing. Are you kidding? Come on. They've been successful. 1948. How many years is that? 62, 72, 75 years? They know what they're doing. They built racetracks not only all over the country, all over North America. And a lot of the tracks that NASCAR has built have been built by other racing organizations in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, although they go the other way around. But, when you copy somebody, that's the best form of flattery. All right, so they're doing something right. They're making millions and millions of dollars, and unfortunately, it's all filtered towards the top series, but they're making money. They're making money, and you look at the grants and you're saying, there's a lot of empty seats. NASCAR's in trouble. Is it? Is it in trouble? It's like looking at the old Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum on Long Island when the Islanders played, and it's like saying, a lot of empty seats. The NHL's in trouble. The NHL ain't in trouble. The Islanders are in trouble. That's why they moved. what's happening is the racetrack operators had gotten greedy. They priced the working man and woman out of a ticket. They priced them out. The hotels in the area priced the people out. They can't afford to go. They can't afford to go to these. It's not that it's in trouble. One racetrack operator in the top series, and I'm not going to say it was, I don't want to say I'm friends with the guy, but I know him. We chat, we talk business sometimes. And I looked at the banners that were covering the seats. I said, you do that so that for TV, it doesn't appear to have a lot of empty seats? He goes, well, no. I looked at him, really? He said, I make more money from that company that has the banner over those seats than if I would have sold every single one of those seats at top dollar. They're businessmen, they're business people. They want to make money. And, you know, I don't want to put anybody down, but as a working man, and I was a working guy for a long time, as a working guy or gal, you don't understand sometimes what owners have to go through to make money for their business. You know, I get a kick at everybody that they'll sit there and say, well, if I owned the track, I'd make it $50,000 to win, and I'd have 100 cars in each division. Where does that money come from? When you've depleted your bank account and you're out of business, what did you do? What did you save? You saved nothing. You made it worse. You can only pay out purses that you can afford to pay out. You can only do what you can do to make it happen for your competitors to hopefully keep them coming back. Okay? Again, going back to, you know, to this whole thing where, you know, starting to go off on a tangent. You know, you just can't blame NASCAR every time there's a problem. And sometimes NASCAR has this knee-jerk reaction to things that we might not agree with. But you know what? Those men and women were put in a position to make those hard decisions, whether you, as a fan, agree with them or not. And I could tell you, I was in that position, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. And you had to make a quick decision. Something happens on the racetrack. I'm there. I'm up on it. I'm like, what do I do? Well, that's why I was put in that position, because I can't ask that question. I have to come up with whether it's a penalty or a decision. I can't call in all my officials and let's have a committee meeting as the car's driving around on the yellow. I can't do that. I have to make a decision. See, it's a pyramid. You know, and every official is very important. You know, you have your bottom officials, and when I say, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but you know, they're the foundation, and you kind of build upon that, and then, you know, the head guy is standing alone at the top with guidance from the track operators / promoters / owners. And sometimes the official decision that's made doesn't necessarily go in line with what the owners would have liked. But you have to be fair, and you have to do those things. And I think NASCAR was fair here. They made a decision with these green-white checkers, and they stuck to it. You know, I just don't understand that every time NASCAR makes a rule change for what they feel is a good thing to better the sport, better the competition, equal a playing field, everybody goes up in arms. And it's just, to me, in my opinion, it's not right. Sit back, think about running your own household. The guy who lives next door to you might not like how you run your household. He might not like the way you mow your lawn or trim your bushes or grow your flowers, or not grow your flowers, for that matter. He might not like the fact that you have a bluestone driveway when his is paved with asphalt or concrete. Because that's his house. And he's going to run his house his way. And you're going to run your house your way. And that's how racetracks and sanctioned bodies are. They're going to run their business the way they see fit. And we may not like the decisions that NASCAR makes. We may not like the decisions that the tech people make. But let me tell you something. Being a behind-the-scenes guy, and I was behind the scenes for a lot of years, we don't go to the racetrack, or I didn't go to the racetrack on any given weekend and say, I think I'm going to let so-and-so win today. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, oh, wait, this guy, oh, he needs to miss a couple of weeks so he could be down in the points. You don't go to the racetrack and do that. And I wish people would, you know, before they post this stuff on the social media, just think from it. Yeah, you're angry, but you know what? Sometimes when you're angry, you need to take a step back, clear your head, and go to it. When we come back, I believe we'll have Tim Pitts from the Orange County Fair Speedway on the line, and we'll be talking about this past weekend's events at the Orange County Fair Speedway in the Eastern States 200 when we come back.
What's up, guys? We're Scano Fair, and we're here with Enravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Enravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Enravio.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Rich Weller. We're some of the Proto Men. If we see you without this bracelet, you're punching the But if you have this bracelet from Enravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, welcome back. We are back. And I believe on the line live, we have Tim Pitts, the announcer, Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. Tim, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
I'm doing good. Tim, again, I want to thank you guys for everything you did for us this past weekend. We had a great time. We saw some great racing.
It was great to have you there. I'll tell you, it's a history-making event, and it's something you won't forget about. That's for sure.
I'll tell you, Brett Hearn, he's one of the winningest drivers on dirt. I was lucky enough to actually have a sit-down with him and chat in the afternoon. When he pulled off the track with a flat tire around midway through and came back out in like 30 seconds, people around me, I was in the grandstands because I like to mingle with the people, and they were saying, "Oh, that's it, he's done." I said, "No, he's going to come through the field. He might win this thing." And I think if there was another lap, he would have.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, had that happened, maybe, 1, 2, 3 laps prior to that, and he came back out, it would have been a solid no-brainer, no two ways about it. It's just ironic how things play out, And
Yeah.
with a guy like that, it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
You know, Tim, watching the events, and I'll tell you what, that show moved along pretty good, and there wasn't too much in the way of, your long delays and wrecks. But there was one wreck in the modified race there, that last race, where there was a bad wreck in one. The car went over, did a tumble, and both drivers walked away.
Yeah, actually, when the dust settled, there was actually 4 cars involved. 2 that were just, totally devastated. It was the worst wreck I've seen in probably, I'll bet you, 8 or 10 years up there. We played it several times. Can't figure out exactly where it all began, but I know Anthony Perego kind of got out of line, and I don't know if his car shut off or popped out of gear or what. He knew he was in trouble because he was on the high side, and he came against the wall and tried to get out of the freight train. But when they're coming down the straightaway towards one, and you're pinched between the wall and the cars, you know something's going to happen. No
without a doubt. And I'll tell you, it's a fine testament to the safety staff and the officials at the racetrack, and that the chassis builders build these cars at your racetrack. It was just, that's where I was sitting, where the car landed. And when I heard the thump and I saw it go over, I was like, oh, man, this is not going to be good. And man, they just got them right out, and they kind of walked to their pit stalls.
Yeah, they said that the driver, of course, who had no place to go, and he came into contact with the rear end of his car, was Matt Hitchcock. And when Matt hit, it kind of created a wedge effect, and he hit with such thrust and such force, it actually shaved the intake manifold off the top of his motor. So that's how close to really being hurt Matt was, and they all walked away. I mean, they all did walk away. A little shaken, a little worse for the wear, but they all walked away.
Understandably. Now, Tim, that was your last event of the season. Obviously, now there's one more event on the property, and I'll give you an opportunity to talk about what do you guys got going on there in a couple of weeks.
Well, it's that time of year when you start to see a lot of swap meets and flea markets and stuff like that at the end of the season. Guys start tearing up cars apart, rebuilding cars for next year. So it's to kind of follow in line with the largest swap meet, I always say, in the history of the world, which is Lebanon Valley Swap Meet, which is coming up on November 1st. Orange County's going to have their first ever swap meet, too, just with guys kind of right around the Hudson Valley area. And that's going to take place right backstage behind the full-covered grandstand in the arena area on November 21st. Mm-hmm. So it'll be indoor and outdoor, have an indoor space, outdoor space. The arena is huge. The arena is like 40,000 square foot.
Oh, so wow.
You can put a lot of parts inside that racing arena, that's for sure. And, we'll have our own little swap meet right there for the guys throughout the Orange County area. And, of course, that includes tracks like even down in here into Pennsylvania, up north farther, Bethel, Accord. We've got a lot of tracks right around us that could fill up a swap meet pretty quick.
Oh, without a doubt. And I'll tell you, I've been to probably, hundreds of swap meets in my day, and and some of them were really good. Some of them were like, but the fact that somebody's opening the doors to let people do that is a tip of the hat. And it's good to see that you guys are doing that. Because you guys, I'll tell you what, you're so competitive friendly there. Aside from being fan friendly, you're so competitive friendly there. And I'll tell you what, as you know, I walk around, I talk to everybody, and there wasn't one person that had a negative comment to say about Orange County Fair Speedway.
Well, the bottom line is this: an event like Orange County, an event like Eastern States, yes, it's the oldest 3-day racing event in the United States of America, but that doesn't just all come together in a week or two beforehand. This is something that these guys up there work on all year long. I mean, Eastern States is something that was in the planning, back at the beginning of the season already. We look forward to Eastern States, like, okay, what's going to happen in Eastern States, how are things going to work, what can we do better from the year before. So it's really a year-long planning to make Eastern States come off without a hitch.
Oh, without a doubt. And, guys like you, Tim, a lot of people think the announcer just announces races, who won, who's going, who's passing, who's that. And you guys are actually the voice of the racetrack, promoting not only the racing, but the swap meet, the concession stand, the food. You guys are up there making that happen. And I'll tell you what, and a lot of people in the chat room today, a couple of people said that, it's like one person wrote, you're one of the best announcers ever. You do a nice job up there. As you know, I get to sit up there and chat with you. And you do a real awesome job, I got to tell you.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's my 28th year up there out of the 36 years I've been playing this game. But, even here again, like Eastern States or even your regular Saturday night racing, it's more than just what's happening on the track. I mean, when it comes to Eastern States, there are certain things you see only at Eastern States every year when the apparel is being unsold. I mean, it's a special event shirt. We sold out completely. The big program, I mean, a really big expanded program for Eastern States. I think they had 2 copies left out of the thousands they printed. So things like that happen only once a year. And yeah, I mean, these people go out of their way to make that happen. The apparel printers, the collectible vendors, the program publishers, they go out of their way to make sure that they have an ample supply for everybody. And yeah, okay, it's my job, to make sure that people know about it, to make sure that they know that they get one before supplies are dwindling down, and to make sure that it's part of the event. You want to leave there at Eastern States with a sweatshirt. You want to leave with a T-shirt. You want to leave with a program book. You want to leave with a memento and something to remember your 3-day experience with. So, part of the job.
Oh, and you do a fine job at that, I'll tell you. And again, I thank you for promoting our show, 505 on Racing Show. I must have heard it about a dozen times that I heard it being mentioned, and we appreciate that here.
It's a mutual experience, and we appreciate having you down there and giving us some notoriety too. So it's a hand-in-hand situation. Whatever we can do for each other, it's all racing, and we're all family.
That's what makes it work. Now, Tim, what's in store for 2016 at the Orange County Fair Speedway?
Well, I'll tell you what. After what we've seen happen, without notice in 2015, I can't wait till 2016 happens, because it was just the most history-making year ever in 96 years. We opened up the season. We opened up in April, and we had planned on doing the roof of the grandstand, but it was kind of iffy as to what the little details were. And all of a sudden, boom, here comes some help from behind us because the roof is on. Never did we expect to replace all the seating. All of a sudden, the gentleman says, hey, let's do some seating here. Wow. And all of a sudden, with the help of Halmar, he has made that the best and biggest season we've had in 96 years. And then I think the best way to sum up what's going to happen in 2016 is when Mr. Larson from Halmar finally left me interview him on the grandstand straight away, and one phrase said it all. That he said the best is yet to come. Right. And we're like, whoa, how much better can it get than what you've done for us this year? The best is yet to come. Oh, baby, this is going to be exciting. So we don't know what's in store, honestly. We don't know what's in store, but if it's anything like 2015, boy, it's going to be another great season.
Now, a lot of people that haven't been, unfortunately, to the racetrack, those new seats there in the front stretch are wow. That's all I can say. The new roof, it just dressed up the place so dramatically. And then in talk when you find out that, and I knew that the old seats were from the old Yankee Stadium that are just sitting under the grandstands now.
Yeah. Like I made mention a lot of times, like venues like big sporting arenas, they'll sell off their seats as mementos and stuff. We got a couple thousand sitting there free. If anybody wants to come on in and have them for their backyard, for their living room, whatever your trend, come on in and take them and enjoy them and appreciate them, and let it be our little gift to you for supporting our track and stuff and supporting the fairgrounds all these years. And I've seen some pictures of what people have done with those seats already. Way cool stuff you can do with them. So there's still a couple left, the way I understand.
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword, the history of those seats, because they came from not the house that Jeter built, the house that Ruth built, and the Orange County Fair Speedway, all in one, man. There's no greater history than those two things for those seats.
And, they held up so well, and they're so old. I might think a few of them either may have came off the Mayflower, or some of them may have been on the Ark. I'm not quite sure that Noah brought over. So I'm not quite sure. They got a lot of history to them, that's for sure.
Yeah, Kevin and I, we crawled under. We were going through the seats, and we were trying to figure out how to get them in the car, and it just wasn't room.
Yeah, they're in groups of 4. So
yeah, and we didn't have a Sawzall, so we were kind of we're gonna have to come back.
Yeah. Well, like I say, they're there. They're free for the taking. Enjoy them, and let it be your little memento. That kind of a strange memento. You know, I mean, people sometimes they collect dirt from a racetrack or from a racing surface, and not too often can you have a set of seats in your den saying this is from the Orange County Fairgrounds. You know, so it's cool.
Yeah, well, somebody said to me, what would you do with it? And you just put the nail in the head, you know, put it in your den, bolt it to the floor. You know, you watch your races on Sunday, watch your baseball games, watch your football. It's like a stadium seat right in your own house, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have there's a gentleman that works for the concession stands, and years ago he used to be the walking beer vendor throughout the grandstand, selling beer from this little cooler. And he showed me pictures. He took 2 or 3 sets of seats home, and he has a little outdoor theater out back behind his house that they watch a big screen on and stuff in the summertime. And he restored those. I mean, he took them down to the bare wood and gave them a natural clear varnish finish. And I mean, I was like, whoa, you got to be kidding me. These are beautiful. I mean, it's just a beautiful job he did to 4 sets of these seats, and they are making his outdoor theater just something that the envy of the neighborhood, you know. So
wow.
it's neat. It's a neat idea.
Now, Tim, a lot of people this past weekend, you know, there were weather issues, and you were able to make it happen. It took a little longer than normal to get the track prepped. What difference when you have a rain all night, a heavy rain like you had, as opposed to a dry night? What are some of the differences that they have to do to that racetrack to prep it, the dirt surface?
Well, you know, the biggest thing was we knew there was rain in the forecast. We weren't quite sure when for Sunday. The rain began at 12:32 a.m. Sunday morning as we were standing there at the 31st lap. And it's like, uh-oh. And it was steady. And it was steady until daybreak. So we had about 6 hours of steady rain. Now, first thing that's going to happen is we didn't dig the track up or anything like that, but it's going to wash the rubber off. It's going to make things pretty soft out there. So when we came back Sunday morning, it was basically very muddy. But what happened was, typically from Eastern States Saturday night, we don't do a whole lot of track reworking. We'll scrape down some of the loose stuff, pack it, and water it. We came back to virtually a mud field on Sunday morning. So the track crew got right to work. They put the heavy equipment on it. They ran it down. They tamped it down. But what it did was it presented the race drivers with an entirely new racing surface for the Sunday of Eastern States. This typically is not what we see coming into the speedway on a Sunday morning. Eastern States, usually it's a very hard, black, rubber saturated racetrack. These guys had a fresh surface to go with, and with a very moist surface with all the moisture and stuff that had fallen. What it actually gave these guys was a lightning fast, almost like a virgin racing surface. Like the very first time they set wheel on a Friday morning, we gave them that surface over again by just working it and mending it and massaging it a little bit. But with that rubber gone off the track, it made that surface so lightning fast yesterday. And what it actually did it did help. It helped a tremendous amount in tire wear.
Right.
Because when you have a surface that's already saturated with rubber, that gets very, very abrasive to tires. When you have a surface that's just tacky and no rubber on it, it actually did aid in tire wear yesterday. And I think you just saw maybe 4 or 5 times more the blown tires had we not had that rain early Sunday morning.
Oh, without that, in fact, I had spoken to Brett Hearn early in the day, and I says, you know, what do you expect this racetrack to be later on? He goes, I don't know. It's a virgin racetrack.
Yeah.
And I looked at his tires at the end in the podium, and you know, just obviously he charged hard from the back, you know, twice. So he was using up his tires, and his tires didn't look that bad compared to the winner. And just looking at the two, I was like, wow, what a difference.
Yeah, the tires from Saturday night's small block 100 were a lot more worn down than yesterday's 200 were at the end. Now, granted, most guys ran the 100 laps on Saturday night without a tire change.
Right.
But what they had to go through yesterday, with that many cars remaining on the track, it's a lot more a lot more using up your tires a lot quicker. And the tires looked about 40% better at the end of yesterday's race than it did the night before for the small block show.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, Tim, we're going to run. I want to thank you again for your hospitality and also for taking time out of your busy schedule to come talk to us and our fans here at 5 on Racing.
Anytime. Thank you for having me, and anytime you guys are welcome at our legendary House of Power. And thanks for the for the opportunity, and thanks for the coverage you give to us as well.
You got it, Tim. It's our pleasure. Tim Pitts, Orange County Fair Speedway, calling in again as a part of our 5-0.
Anytime. Thank you for having me. And
All right, Tim. With that, when we come back, we'll have the results from Talladega for the Sprint Cup Series and the Camping World Truck Series, as well as the Formula One event at Texas when we come back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
What's up, guys? We're Scano Fair, and we're here with InRavio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, we're back. We're back. All right, Talladega. We talked about the controversy, but the Camping World Truck Series was also there, and Timothy Peters was the winner from the pole, with Brendan and Jones second, Mason Mingus third, Eric Jones fourth, Tyler Reddick was fifth, Cameron Haley sixth, Johnny Sauter was seventh, Chris Fontaine was eighth, ninth was Chad Boughton, and 10th was Tyler Young. The points as they stand right now, Eric Jones has an 18-point lead over Tyler Reddick, with Matt Crafton 23 back, so he still has a shot too. Johnny Sauter's 55 back and fourth, followed by Timothy Peters, Cameron Haley sixth in points, and Daniel Hemrick seventh in points, John West Townsley eighth in points, Ben Kennedy ninth in points, and Spencer Gallagher rounding out the top 10. Again, Timothy Peters won that race from the pole, which is not an easy thing to do at Talladega, but he did do that. The Formula One Series was in Texas, with Lewis Hamilton taking the win there, and Nico Rosberg second, Sebastian Vettel was third, Max Verstappen was fourth, and Sergio Perez rounded out the top five. The Formula One points for the top three right now, Lewis Hamilton is the point leader, so with Sebastian Vettel second, Nico Rosberg third. So that's what's going on in Formula One. Cup Series, Talladega, we talked about that. Joey Logano swept this section of the chase with another win, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, just missing out. That win would have put him into the next round of the chase. It was where you want to be in the top four, but he did not make it. Jeff Gordon third, Brad Keselowski was fourth, Carl Edwards fifth, followed by Paul Menard in sixth. Seventh was Martin Truex Jr., eighth Clint Boyer, ninth Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Kurt Busch rounding out the top 10. The points are reset. 4,000 points are given to the guys going into the next section, with 4 races remaining at Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and the final at Homestead. Right now it's Joey Logano, followed by Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon third in points, Kurt Busch is fourth, Keselowski fifth, Truex sixth, Harvick seventh, Kyle Busch eighth. Out of the chase, eliminated at Talladega, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Tell you what, the next 3 races, Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix. If you think there was controversy in Talladega, wait till you see what's going to happen here, because There's 4 races left. 3 are in this section. You win, you're in. And you know what? They're going to knock out some people here. And it's going to be tough. And you know what? It's like getting into the playoffs, getting into the World Series, getting into the Super Bowl, getting into the Stanley Cup Finals. You got to be in it to win it. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Because it's going to be, you think, like I said, you think Talladega was crazy. This is going to be crazy. And you know, maybe the chase is doing what it was meant to do. While you people are on the chat rooms and the message boards and the social media complaining about what NASCAR did, maybe that was their intent, to get you people into it, to get you people like, they did this, they did that, they did this, I'm mad, NASCAR's fixed. You know, it's not fixed. I'm going to say that because somebody's going to edit this out and say, Joe said NASCAR's fixed. I'm not saying that. But I want you guys to know, and gals to know out there that this is what they wanted. This is how they wanted it to be. They wanted some controversy. They wanted to make this interesting so that people are going to talk about it, people are going to watch it, people are going to tune into Martinsville next weekend to see what's going to happen. And it's one of those tight little tracks, 2 drag strips and a quick, sharp left-hand turn. It looks like a paperclip. And if you don't think they're going to be beating and banging in Martinsville, then you know what? Then you're not a race fan. There's going to be beating and banging, and that race is going to be like your local weekly racetrack, maybe even worse. And the tempers are going to be flaring, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You might want to tune in and watch that one, because I know, I think I'm going to try to watch that one too. And I don't normally sit and watch entire races, but I think we're going to do that. But anyway, we're coming close to the wrap up. What do we got going on? Some stuff going on, like in the top series, Sprint Cup Series will be in Martinsville. We got some banquet stuff coming up in November and December. Then we also got the North-South Shootout, which will be, I believe, November 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Concord Motorsports Park. That'll be next week, so we'll be able to talk about that in a couple of weeks. And maybe next week we'll talk about who's going to the North-South Shootout and how it's going to look. So anyway, so that's where we're looking. The season is winding down, at least the racing part of the season is winding down. Preparing for next season, because next season starts the day after the last race of this season. Remember that. Wrap-up begins at the start of the job. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and being a part of the 505 on Racing Show. And I know people have busy schedules and going to be into the holidays soon, so it's going to be really tough. Hockey's going to start. It has started, but it's going to get really crazy. The World Series is here. The Mets, Kansas City. We know some people are going to be watching that stuff, so don't forget to tune into 505 on Racing Show at inravio.com. So again, thank you, everybody. Wherever your endeavors are going to bring you this week, please be safe, please be careful. Give somebody a hug. Tell them you love them. God bless you all, and we'll see you next week.